Okay, so this is my first member exclusive video. Super excited. Don't know if the main public will ever see this. They might. They definitely won't see the concluding video, the third part of this series. But, anyways, today I'm going to explain the Avengers and their absolute strongest feats slash outliers. Now, first thing we got to address right away, big elephant in the room. Does each team at their peak, at least in terms of AP, are they at least relative? Yes. Therefore, this series of videos will not be a waste of time. This is going to be super competitive and will come down to a lot more than AP. Anyways, we're going to get into the strongest moments and outliers on the Marvel team. By the way, before anyone gets alarmed, we are going to give the same treatment to both sides. That is, we're going to give outliers, strongest feats for both Marvel and DC. So it's fair game. But anyways, we're going to get right into this. And the strongest contributors on Marvel very well may kind of surprise you. But anyways, let's get into it. First one up, one of the most popular ones, Composite 616 Hulk. At one point, Hulk came into the possession of the Unipower. The Unipower granting you the ability to protect your people, your universe, with whatever power necessary needed in order to basically preserve it. So what makes that potentially very lethal is the fact that if they're somewhat relative in terms of their cap of AP, it's almost stats equalized at that point, and that could be a very big turning point, is an amp like that. We've seen him acquire the Space Stone, which of course can be scaled to like multiversal. Thanos, of course, outliers, like I said. Thanos says the smoke with Hulk, aka throwing hands, is something he does not want. Thanos literally at one point in the comics wanted smoke with the one above all, but he did not want smoke with the Hulk. Crazy, right? Anyways, moving on, we're going to talk about some of the more recent renditions of Hulk, including stuff like Al Ewing's runs. But essentially, what we saw in these runs is Hulk has some statements in the line of comics implying that he embodies Gabura, who is essentially the wrath of God. This can be interpreted to mean Hulk scales to at least an aspect of the one above all, but more than likely, if you want to consider, what is part of Infinity or what is part of Boundless, still Boundless. If you want to go that way, you could argue he does scale to the one above all. But yeah, that's the highest outliers and best possible scaling for the strength brute himself, Composite Hulk. Now moving on to Thor. Thor has some juicy ones. Now this will stem and be predicated off of my Doctor Strange scaling from Classic Strange Tales. Just so y'all have a heads up, go peep that video if you want more in-depth analysis on it. But anyways, Thor was above in terms of strength, at least Loki, who bodied Doctor Strange. Classic Doctor Strange, by the way. This classic Doctor Strange scales to pre-retcon Beyonder, and at multiple times could have actually gotten the advantage against him and even beat him. We then see in Strange Tales that a suppressed Loki, we know it's a suppressed Loki because his real form is in like true Asgard, and he has to project himself down from his prison. Projects himself down is actually overwhelming Doctor Strange in terms of power, which is crazy. This means Thor scales above Loki, who scales above a fragment of Loki, which that fragment of Loki scales above Doctor Strange, who scales above Nightmare, who, as you'll see in the scan in this video, has the power to consume all of fiction. We've later seen in later comics Thor with the ability to kill eternity level beings. Just an embody of eternity was capable of scrapping true form Dormammu. Thor in prior renditions has cracked the armor of Exeter. His battle with another version of Thor was felt across all planes of existence. His hammer transcends the boundaries of time and space. His hammer can bend time and space. Thor is superior to Odin in power. For a reference point, Odin was capable of negging a fire that was destroying the World Tree, which contained the other world, which views eternity as a chess piece. This World Tree also encompasses embodies of Living Tribunal, which is multiple layers into Outer Versal. Want more information on that? Go check out my Doctor Strange videos where I go a little more in depth with that. Thor also later on scares those who sit above in shadow and even threatens to destroy them. And they exist in the outside, which is completely beyond Eternity's influence. Which obviously you put all those outliers together, and Thor, Comp 616 Thor, is quite formidable. By the way, shout out to the Splash Institute of Research and all my homies that helped me compile this list of feats and best moments on short notice to get this video out for my members. Thank you guys so much. You know who you are. They've been in previous videos before if you want to go check it out. But anyways, moving on to the Dark Horse. And when I say Dark Horse, I didn't even know this scaling before one of our members introduced it. But the Dark Horse of the Avengers, Composite Vision. Now, Composite Vision is an absolute problem for this matchup because he has access to the House of Ideas. What's the House of Ideas? Well, the House of Ideas itself is the home to the One Above All. We also see the writer Jim Starlin, who should be the One Above All, writing the Infinity Conflict in the House of Ideas. And the writer should represent the One Above All, the House of Ideas being where the writing occurs. So the fact that Vision scales to this at one point in the comment or in the comics, just off of outliers, Jesus Christ. But anyways, moving on to Captain America, everyone's favorite Boy Scout. What does Composite 616 outlier Cap bring to the table? We have Infinity Gauntlet Captain America, and for the sake of a wild battle with the Justice League, we're going to give absolute outliers from the Infinity Gauntlet perks to Captain America himself. He has statements, the Infinity Gauntlet does, of not only rivaling but surpassing the Cosmic Cube, which can destroy and recreate the Omniverse. Post-retcon, Beyonder and Molecule Man are each half of a Cosmic Cube. Beyonder, at one point, and almost everything else, threatened the Omniverse. There are infinite multiverses for reference in the Omniverse. We see that every thought at one point creates a new reality, which goes on forever, and every action creates an infinite amount of new paths. Obviously, IG scales above something, a battle, a clash that threatens all time and space. Cosmic cubes, which scale below comp IG, actually can recreate creation. They're above creation itself. And obviously it's confirmed later on that the Gauntlet is a multiversal threat. Omniversal Cosmic Cube means that peak performance Infinity Gauntlet should be that level as well. And the Infinity Gauntlet's considered to rival God Doom in terms of raw power. And it was able to momentarily go against him. And this Doom was able to create or defeat Phoenix, and Phoenix scales, like I've shown in previous videos, well above creation. So this is a massively impressive feat and something worth noting. But yeah, anyway, the Infinity Gauntlet has actually in prior encounters scaled to Celestials and beyond Celestials, and overall this makes this version of Captain America very lethal for the Justice League team to look out for, and his matchup with Comp Batman's gonna be nuts. Moving on to probably the most overrated member of this team, honestly. Composite 616 Scarlet Witch. Y'all thought she was going to be this massive player for Marvel and carry Marvel, when in fact, Marvel's coming with the sauce without Scarlet Witch. Okay? They're not relying on her. Don't gas yourself up off House of M. A lot of prior stories and future stories have way better scaling than that. Anyways, we've seen Scarlet Witch contend with Phoenix Force at full power. Quite impressive. Puts it at, like above creation level. She also helped KO Scott Summers, and he had the full Phoenix Force. And it was confirmed that the House of M, perhaps the most infamous version of Scarlet Witch, reality warping wise, was multiversal in scale. So yeah, she's a reality warper, but in the end, is she really above Composite Cap? No, I don't see it. Not buying it. Moving on to perhaps one of the wackiest and wonkiest of scaling for these teammates is Composite 616 Sentry. Okay, so we're going to have to establish a little bit of a meta prior to discussing Sentry's high feats. So we got to explain Captain Britain. Captain Britain is Excalibur, which scales to the Omniverse. Captain Britain also draws power from this energy matrix, which binds creation, essentially. We saw that at one point, Captain Britain even scaled to Mad Jim Jaspers and the Furies, and this is crazy if you've ever read the Jim Jaspers reality warping stories. And those characters have multiple omniversal levels scans. Captain Britain in one universe also contended with the Phoenix Force. This is important because Captain Britain couldn't compromise the shields of Doctor Doom. These shields can also tank hits from the Infinity Gauntlet, even attacks from Galactus. And in that story, the power was above all of creation, and it dwarfed the Cosmic Cube. This is crazy because while unstable, Sentry was able to put down the shields of an amped Doctor Doom. Not even regular Doctor Doom. Amped one. Who scaled above power that's above creation. That is insane. Classic Sentry, who's far weaker than the current rendition, contained the energies of the Cosmic Cube, which I already spoke on. Absorbing Man, who had absorbed the Cosmic Cube's energy before, couldn't begin to take in Sentries. We also know Sentry casually scales above the entire House of M event. Rogue says Sentry is the most powerful hero she's ever been around, or character in general. This would put him above Phoenix, Mephisto, and Apocalypse. Sentry is also the most powerful being Thor has ever fought. This includes Exetar the Celestial. Sentry was also able to at one point overpower the Void, who scaled above World Tree Doctor Strange. So yeah, that's what Composite Sentry's got. He's going to be quite formidable for this team. Finally, the last member, the brainiac of the team, the intellectually probably the biggest rival to Batman from any other line of comics, Iron Man Tony Stark. What's Composite Iron Man have? Well, before going back through my notes in like classic comics and stuff, big moments too and key battles, I slept on Iron Man. I didn't think I'd find that crazy a scaling, but we have, and we have it here. So, not even peak Iron Man. This is just a regular Iron Man. He can solo the X-Men and blitz them, who as a team have contended with Phoenix Force level threats. Phoenix Force Buster armor, which is designed to handle Phoenix Force, is above creation the Phoenix Force is. And this suit, which was made to contend with Phoenix Force, was made in 2 or 3 weeks. A pissed off Iron Man blitzed Red Hulk, who can scrap with Thor, who we already scaled. Sentry said Iron Man has 99 speed. You know, he's a straight up blitz machine. Sentry has better perception than most, as explained in prior moments in this video. So obviously this compliment means a lot. Iron Man can casually one-shot Luke Cage, who has taken hits from Hulk. He can depower Gamma and destabilize it, which is magic and divine per recent Hulk runs. He can temporarily, on the spot, hold off the Void, which boloed everyone in Marvel's What If for that 616 story. Iron Man has blitzed full Phoenix Scott before. Full Phoenix, even trapped in dimension, scales to Macan Crystal. Iron Man can neg EMPs that solo the world. Iron Man has taken hits from Terrax, who scales to Silver Surfer, who has taken on omniversal level threats at his peak. He's been able to take out Taurus, who was able to take out Thor. Apocalypse didn't have the AP to break out of Iron Man's shields. Apocalypse can actually kill Celestials and other runs. He can neg multiple hacks in combat while fighting at the same time. For example, he can fight while negging hypnotism and telepathy at the same time, no problem. One of his strongest armors is God Killer Mark II. He used this armor to throw hands with the Dark Celestial, which a group of them could take out the Celestial race. And Odin stated that the Odin sword couldn't do anything when it had previously been able to crack the fourth host. Like, it scaled above the fourth host in general, which is wild. And they Dark Celestials in general scale pretty heavily above regular Celestials, who are already wildly powerful, and Iron Man was able to scrap with them. And as well, for a more impressive wank feat for Iron Man, these Celestials he was hurting could tank the ultimate nullifier, which destroyed and recreated multi-eternity, which is nuts. Finally, final member of this team I'm going to talk about real quick. I've already done a video on him, so I'm not going to waste that much time. Classic Doctor Strange. Multiple layers into Outerversal via the Strange Tales, which in my opinion is by far the strongest form of Doctor Strange runs throughout the comics. Casually boloed Galactus with telepathy. Was able to hack pre-retcon Beyonder and was a threat to trap him. And beat him in general. He scaled and beat Zom. Zom was too strong for either Dormammu or Eternity to fight at the same time. It took both of them jumping him to just seal him away. They couldn't even finish him off. They had to seal him away. They couldn't defeat him one-on-one. Doctor Strange came in and beat him. That's how crazy his scaling is. He also temporarily held off Embody Living Tribunal, which is absolutely nuts. So yeah, and the fact he scales to Beyonder, who has the omniversal level destruction feats, means the magic of Doctor Strange and his hacks are perhaps the highest out of everyone involved on both sides. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being members. All my members of the League of Villains, shout out to you. Thank you for joining. Great movement. Loving this run on YouTube, man. We're on a tear. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're looking forward to the DC Justice League video and how crazy their outliers are. Anyways, it's been your boy Sir Splash, and I'll see y'all later. The favorite villain is out.